Oh, I'm live here. I'm fixing my hair. Hi, it's Katrina Kavanagh here, and this is Perfectly Imperfect Facebook Live, our Q&A, Monday night Q&A, every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Sydney time, during school term. Oh, someone's arrived. Renee, hello, hello. I'll explain what this is in a minute. I think any of you who's ever worked with me or listened to me speak will know. So here we are. Tonight's topic, we're going to be talking about how to help our children and teenagers deal with disappointment, which is also, other people call that building resilience. But for me, it's more than that. It's about really honing into that specific emotion, and that's disappointment. Now, disappointment. Hello, Renee. Hey, Renee. Hello. Now, I've got my hip pack with me because I'm feeling a little bit heavy today. So I thought I'd nurture my feelings by bringing my hip pack with me to our session, because I just want you to know that I'm perfectly imperfect as a parent too, and I'm a human being, and I have heavy feelings, and today I've got a few heavy feelings. So I am here to share with, oh, this is so nice, and I'm putting this on my chest because that's where I'm feeling heavy, and I'm doing that to look after my feelings so I can feel okay again, which is what it's all about, isn't it? It's about nurturing, working with our brain and then our bodies to help our bodies feel better, and therefore helping us all. Oh, I will, Renee. In 10 minutes time, this will really help me. And the lovely experience of talking. So tonight I'm coming to you live with a cold. So I've got my tissues, I've got my cup of tea. I'm not in my pajamas. Clearly that's the problem. But I've got my heat pack as well on my chest. But today we're going to be talking about helping our children deal with disappointment, and because it comes in so many different ways. And our first instinct as a parent, even if we are, intellectually, my lippy, good brush job of putting on the lippy, I did. Even if we are, I can't conceptualize. Okay, it's that side. No, it's this side. I can feel it. Even if it's typical me, very real, fixing up my lippy on Facebook Live. Even if we are not aware that we're doing it, our first and natural instinct is to protect our children from feeling heavy, feeling bad at all at any time. And even if we have an intellectual belief that, oh yes, I need to expose my children to life's various experiences so that I can ready them for life. Hello, Jamie, lovely Carpenter. Renee, you're lovely as well, I must say. But so hello, Janae. Janae. God, Jamie, help me. Can't even say your name properly, but I know. So Jamie and I go way back, lovely dear friend of mine. So Jamie, so we're just talking about helping our kids deal with disappointment. And I was just saying how, even if we have an intellectual understanding that it's good for our kids to experience it. Hello, Karen, everyone's coming on board, loving you all here. Hello, hello. Even if we know that we're talking tonight about helping our kids deal with disappointment. So I'm really looking forward, and I'll probably stop going on. Well, I'll just let a few more people come on. So the idea is we're talking about the fact that our kids will feel disappointment in life. It's our natural instinct to protect our children from ever feeling hurt. That's an instinct. Even if we have an intellectual understanding that it's good for them to feel disappointment, it is highly likely that even unconsciously we'll take steps to try to reduce their sense of disappointment. Now, me of all people, I should know, shouldn't I? How am I meant to know? I'm the one facilitating all these conversations. But even me myself, I find myself like just having little conversations sometimes, just kind of prepping the girls for things that might happen. Not to any huge degree, but I will do that. So that's a little of, trying to buffer the possible impending disappointment. So I do that. Look, and I've worked with so many people who might intellectually know that it's good for their kids to experience life, but we all do it. We all jump in and try to not have them disappointed. Now, whether that's getting them things, buying them material things because we don't want them to feel that fear of missing out. We want them to be up there with their friends or whatever it is, that sort of stuff. That's one way it comes. Whether it's, kind of making sure that they never miss out on activities, all that kind of stuff. But it might just be the way they experience themselves in relationships at school with their friendships and all that sort of stuff. And it's certainly about, whether they get awards or whether they get recognition and all that kind of thing. And, if we're a parent who's got a child who's in any, has a special talent, then we have to be very mindful about the fact that our children are going to experience disappointment. And one of the most important messages, hello, Samantha, welcome. Now you'll all see that I have with me my heat pack because I'm feeling a little bit heavy. So I thought, you know what, I'm not going to delay the start and get myself right. I'm just going to jump on. Here I am, completely me, feeling a little bit heavy. So, and I'm on the end of a cold, snuffle, snuffle. And so I've got my cup of tea, yum, yum, and I've got my box of tissues. And don't be surprised if in the middle of the whole conversation, I'm going to blow my nose, all that sort of stuff. And I've also got my heat pack sitting on my chest nice and beautifully, and I'm loving it. It's really helping me to look after my heavy feelings so I can feel okay again. So, Samantha, tonight we're talking about helping our kids deal with disappointment and how our natural instinct as parents is to absolutely try to make sure that doesn't happen. Please send through your questions here, and I'll just start talking about that topic so we can at least get going with that just while everyone comes on board. So, okay, so I've already said our natural instinct is that we want to protect them. There are different ways that our children will experience disappointment, whether it's not getting good marks, whether it's, and particularly if they have a special talent, if it might be, every child has a special talent. What I mean is if they're performing or they're engaging in competitive sport or, one of those types of things, we can, as parents, we want them to do well all the time. And we will sometimes either avoid the topic altogether, that they will experience disappointment, or we do all we can behind the scenes interacting with other professionals and other coaches and key people to make sure that if they either don't experience disappointment or if they do, it's minimized, okay? So I wanted to talk about that because, as you know, in life, there are times when we're all going to feel disappointed. And one of the most beautiful things we can give our children is a few understandings. And the first understanding is, yes, there are times when you're not going to succeed at everything. There are times when someone's going to get chosen when maybe you thought it was your turn. There are times, and it might have been actually your turn, and maybe the person either wrongly on purpose made the choice or they just usually it's like human error, okay? So, So there are so many different examples of when children and ourselves can feel disappointment. I just thought I still want to do the Facebook Live just because I'm feeling a little bit heavy in the process of parenting, mind you. So, hello, Michelle, watching with my children. Hello, Michelle. Michelle, we are talking today about supporting our children to deal with disappointment. And I was just saying that when you have children who have a special talent, whether it's, it might be, for example, let's randomly select something, it might be performing arts, or it might be athletics, or it might be, it could be anything, it could be piano, it could be anything. What happens is, as parents, we don't want them to get hurt. We don't want them to suffer. And particularly if we are parents who have suffered ourselves at any time in our life, we particularly don't want them to suffer at all on any level. So, Michelle, in case your children are wondering why I've got this is a heat pack and I'm feeling a bit heavy, so I'm just putting it on my chest to look after my feelings so I can feel okay again. I'm on the end of a cold, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, so as parents, we want to protect them. So we will do things. We'll either say nothing and go la 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 when they don't do so well, or when they come across disappointment, if they don't do well in the test, or if a friend doesn't, hurts them, or whatever it may be, right? And then, so we do nothing, and that's understandable because who wants to address it? Thank you, Michelle. I will. I am. And so, but the other thing we can do is, like I said, we can try to work behind the scenes. We can go to the teacher or the coach or the I mean, and any teacher who's online now right now will say, you know, you've got parents coming to you at times saying, can you just make sure that my child gets an award for that? Because if I just don't want them to, you know, they will have those conversations, okay? I'm just checking in, did my child get an, you know, so, and that's coming from their own parents' anxiety. So let's talk about what we do to prepare our kids. First of all, number one, we give them the message that in life, it's going to happen, that we're going to feel heavy sometimes, that we're not always going to win, that we're not always going to do our, even if we prepare, we still may not do our best, whatever our version of our aiming best thing is, because there's human factors, right? There's absolutely human factors. There's things like how we're feeling psychologically. Like there's so many variables. The wind might be blowing in the wrong direction or whatever. You could go in on that day and, you know, someone's distracting you in class, or like there's just so many things that can happen, okay, around us. Not doing well, failing, which is my favorite thing, or not doing our best, or not getting chosen, or whatever form the disappointment comes. Some of it's out of our control. So what do we do then? What do we do? And because what happens is the natural instinct, the natural sorrow response that every child and adolescent will have is they won't like it. It will feel heavy. They'll feel it in their body. You know, it'll be in their chest, they'll feel heavy. They might feel sick in the tummy. You know, one of the first things kids can feel, particularly when they've got loving people around them, is they'll think, oh my God, I've let down blah, blah, you know. Let down mum, let down dad, let down grandma, let down auntie, let down carer, let down whoever. Or even if they don't think that, they'll think, oh gosh, you know, oh, I really wanted to show mum or dad or whoever, carer, I really wanted to show them that I've done well in this thing, and now I've got to go home and tell them I didn't. You know, so, or some kids just think, I should have been chosen. I should have been chosen for that. You know, I know I've done this and that. And they may be A, correct, or B, a little bit not correct, but kind of deluded of their own abilities. So, you know, and that happens for a range of reasons. So there's a whole lot of variables there. But either way, the time will come when they're feeling quite heavy about disappointment, their version of disappointment. So what do we do then? The number one thing we can do is we prepare our children before those times come in what I call the peace time. And we sit down with them, if we haven't already, and it's never too late to start. We sit down with them and we say, this is going to happen. And I want to give you a message about what this means. What I know about you. What I know about you is that you are an amazing human being who has the capacity to feel disappointment in whatever shape it might come, real disappointment or perceived disappointment or whatever it is. It is possible for you to live and experience disappointment, be able to look after your feelings and still come out the other side, because the most important thing is, for me, it's not the achieving, it's not the doing, it's not the winning, it's not being the best at, it's not making mistakes or whatever it is that is tied up in this thing that's not being chosen. It's not even being that person over there's friend who's now not choosing you to be a friend. That's not really, that hurts, and we're going to manage that stuff. But what's really important to me is how you are and how you're managing your feelings and what I want you to feel. The most important thing is I want you to feel this experience where something happens that doesn't feel right for you, right? You feel heavy about it. You show yourself that you can look after your feelings and that you can come out the other side and be okay again. Now, what happens in that moment is you have that peacetime conversation, and the moment it comes up for the child or the teenager, they have that experience. You know, they come home and say, I remember having this conversation with Phoebe when she was in kindy, and she it was week 3 of year 1, kindy, first term, and the first 2 assemblies she'd received awards. And so in her cute little 5-year-old, because we started early, 5-year-old brain, when you go to an assembly, you get an award. That's what happens. For her, anyway. I don't think she maybe noticed that other kids won't, but, you know, for her, that was her experience. And on the 3rd week, we came up to the assembly and she didn't get an award, and she got very sad and she felt really bad that she didn't get this. And she came to me afterwards and I said to her, darling, this is just disappointment. This is just disappointment. You're feeling right now disappointed. Hello, Tracy Hughes. You're just feeling a complete disappointment that you didn't get that award. And it's just disappointment. It's just a feeling. And, you know, I want to support you, so you're going to be okay. So I'm going to hug you now. She was little. I'm going to hug you and I'm going to reassure you that who you are is amazing no matter what happens. You're amazing just by breathing. You don't have to do anything or be anything or get anything or be anyone's friend or whatever it is that you're disappointed about. You don't have to have and be all those things. Just by breathing, you are magnificent, and I love and I care for you, and that's the most important thing. The most important thing to me isn't the winning or the achieving or the getting this. The most important thing to me is that you learn how to look after those emotional feelings, because that skill, that life skill, is going to hold you in good stead for everything. Now, the backflip of that is, what happens is when you teach your child how to look after disappointment, when you teach them that it's just disappointment, okay, what you're doing in that instant is it's actually a performance enhancer, right? So for all of us who have children, you know, that are doing anything, when you teach them that it's just disappointment, what happens is, and they have the experience of feeling disappointment, looking up, knowing it's okay to have this experience, knowing it's understandable to have those heavy feelings. Of course, it's actually the brain and the body doing its thing. They couldn't stop it if they wanted to, you know. Once they know that that's okay, and then they have the experience of having it, and then they can look after their feelings through it, and then they come out the other side and they can feel okay again. What happens is, the next time they're going in to do something, because they know that even if the worst case scenario happens and they don't get whatever it is they think they need to do or get or whatever, they're going to be okay. What's the worst case scenario? They're going to have a feeling of disappointment. And then they'll be able to look after those feelings and then be able to go through that. So can you see someone's about to step up onto the stage to perform, in the case of my Phoebe and Kate. So they're going to step up and they're going to talk in front of the class, or they're going to step on a stage to perform. And rather than thinking, oh, I'm not going to be, and what happens if at the end of this I'm not? And rather than being fearful of the end result, there's part of them, their body keeps score, right? So they have a body memory, therefore, of, well, you know what? Even if I'm disappointed or something happens that leads to disappointment, I'm going to still be okay. I'm going to be okay. I'm still a whole and complete and wonderful person. Okay, I'm all of those things still, but I can deal with disappointment. Can you please tell me whether you think this is helpful, and if so, can you tell me, whoever's still here, can you tell me if this applies to your children's life, that they experience disappointment, what context they experience disappointment in, and whether you think that this is helpful to prepare them and then practice it. And then when it comes, you deal with it, you know, and then they know they can. And then, of course, that makes them, hello, Tony O'Connell. So, of course, that makes them, you know, feel so good to have you guys. Are great. So, therefore, it's really, really good to have, can you just tell me whether you think that's helpful? Or if there's any other questions you've got about specifically helping your child deal with disappointment, if there's any specific scenario that you might have. Samantha something. Gemma said yes. Well, hello, Gemma. I'm glad you said yes, and I'm loving it. If you've got any other questions, Michelle and Gemma, please ask away, because here I am, here to answer the question, okay? Because there's what we want for our kids is that there's so much to life that is amazing and magnificent. And we want us, when they're experiencing that process of trying to achieve or just doing everyday life or being a good friend or whatever it is, that they're actually able to relax more into it and enjoy it, right? And by therefore doing something and getting better results anyway, that's the secret. But really the main focus is that, you know, what is childhood for and what is adolescence for? We're actually prepping them in these 20 years, whatever it is, to live ideally, if we're all lucky, the next 60, right? So we've got 20 years to jam it all in, and really 15, okay? A bit more though, really, let's face it. About 20 years. And then obviously you don't stop learning, but we've got this intense time to prep our kids for the next 60. So the more we can put into them, and one of the key things is learning how to deal with disappointment. Now, you'll hear lots of people say, "Oh, that child needs to be more resilient," and a key life skill for resilience is learning to look after your feelings. Obviously, all the stuff I've already spoken about, but the specific topic of learning to deal with disappointment is obviously a key area to focus on. Now, Samantha, you're saying we do. Excuse me, sippy tea. Sorry. Okay. That's me having a cold. That's me being funny. I hope everyone thinks that's funny. We do the meter ruler test. Every centimeter of the ruler is a year of your life, and we show them where they are and say, will this matter? Yes, in half a centimeter, 6 months' time. Will it matter in 2 centimeters, 2 years' time? I love it. And what you're talking about there is in the process of, so when you're dealing with the disappointment, step one is, yes, getting in there and going, I'm looking after my feelings. I'm getting one of these ones or whatever. Remember, what am I feeling, heavy or light? Disappointment, I'm feeling heavy. Where am I feeling heavy? Head, chest, belly, back, throat. I can look after my feelings. One example is with a heat pack, applying that to the area where you're feeling heavy so I can feel okay again. And as you're settling into those when you're feeling more settled, when you're slowing that body down, yes, let's engage the brain. Let's look at reframing. Let's look at getting perspective. Let's look at challenging thinking, okay? And that is a perfect strategy, Sam, to do that. You've got there. So saying it's giving context, isn't it, perspective? In 10 years, is this going to matter? Very, very, very important question to ask. That's brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Any other comments, people? I'm loving all the people we've got here. Let me know if there is. Otherwise, I'll stay on live for a few more minutes. While I've got you all, very exciting things happening while I'm waiting for some comments. Very exciting things happening with Kindness on Purpose. I don't even know where to begin. I had an article written by, I might have said this to you last week, I think, written by a wonderful journalist. And she shared it on, I'm having a mental block. I'll share it down here on, I've had a mental block up. Oh, how bad's that? I'll share it down here. I'm so sorry, beautiful journalist. And anyway, this article was written on Kindness on Purpose. That is so annoying. I've been staring at, here it is. Uplift. Oh, dear God. Uplift. Sorry, Uplift. And they wrote a beautiful article on Kindness on Purpose. It was then shared by a fellow with 15 million followers, okay, over in the States. As a result of that, that was the first wave. And then there's been another wave. So someone else has shared it. I can't see who. And I've now got another wave. So I've got all these inquiries of people coming through who are interested in Kindness on Purpose from the Netherlands, from India, from the USA, from Canada. Have I missed anywhere? I don't know. All those places, as well as Australia. Now, the other really amazing, so I've got all these things happening. I've got teachers really interested in becoming involved. I've got parents joining our Perfectly Imperfect parenting group. Those emails are starting. And I've got courses coming online soon. It's all this really exciting stuff. And then on Friday night, I went to a beautiful event where one of the schools actually chose to showcase their experience on Kindness on Purpose. That was Oran Park Public School. So there I was in a room. I didn't have to do anything. I just got to stand there and be there, which I had a flu, so that was good. And there I was, and they presented all about Kindness on Purpose. Now, I'm just trying to get permission to share that video. I don't know if I'll get it because often there's permission to publish issues and things. But if I do get it, I'll certainly be sharing it because part of their presentation was a video. And it was just beautiful, so that's really lovely. Oh, there's more questions. Hello, sorry, I didn't see them. Okay. Samantha, you're saying in response, thanks for the advice from last week. We had another anxiety attack this morning after your surgery. Okay, and we talked to Nick about being powerful and in control of his body, and it helped him to come up with a strategy to get into school. I'm very, very pleased about that. I hope that your surgery is okay, Samantha. But I'm pleased that strategy did help you. And Trebs Christie, your strategies of where am I feeling it, and the heat pack is so useful in the classroom and home as a mum. Thank you so much, Katrina. I agree. I'm thanking you for saying thank you. Don't you love these things? They're the best. So I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. And I should always talk about some other strategies besides the heat pack, but I love it. But there are others in my list of things to do. So I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased. Oh, Michelle, Gemma wants me to buy her a heat pack. Thank you for sharing your great messages. You're very, very welcome. Gemma, love the heat pack. Until you feel the feeling, warming that heat pack up. Remember the 4 steps though. Number 1, what am I feeling, heavy or light? It's obviously heavy if you're using it. Number 2, where am I feeling it? Body scanning. I'm doing this with all my, and I actually work with elite athletes and also with people, first responders, and all these people who've been sad in their life, but also people who are wanting to improve their performance. So, yeah, what am I feeling at? What am I feeling, heavy or light? Where am I feeling it? Head, chest, belly, back or throat. I can look after my feelings, and that's when we apply a strategy to one of those, wherever we're feeling heavy in our body, so I can feel okay again. That 4th step, don't ever forget that, saying to yourself, I'm doing this to look after my feelings so I can feel okay again, because those words wrap around the behavior, right? The behavior of using the heat pack. Those words wrap around the behavior, and you're talking to your brain, and you're reminding, and in that process, you're actually advising your brain and literally laying a new neurological pathway and reinforcing it. So this is all about neuroscience as well. That's what we're doing here. Okay. Charlene, hello, love it. Thanks heaps for sharing. I will inspire your knowledge and wisdom around. I do love the heat pack on the chest for heaviness. Great. I think doing something physical relating to feelings makes lots of sense to me and the children. Thank you, Charlene. I'm so glad that you're loving it, and thank you for coming along and joining us tonight. So please spread the word. I'm out and about. Tomorrow I'm up to a beautiful school called Blairmont Public School up in the southwestern area of Sydney. I can't wait. It is their launch, so that's going to be a wonderful experience. Love it. And then what else have I got on this week? Heaps of stuff. There's so much coming up on so much. There is so much kindness on purpose stuff happening. There's stuff now happening obviously overseas. There's stuff happening. I've got like 50,000 emails to write back to people. I'm coming, everyone. I'm coming. I'm getting to you. You haven't heard from me yet. And also, obviously, I've got a lot of local schools coming on local meaning Australia, coming on board as well. I'm very, very grateful. Thank you for being part of my Perfectly Imperfect parenting community. We're all in this together. Let's raise our heat packs and our cups of coffee and our pajamas that I don't have on today, and our tissues where necessary, in united joy that we are all doing this thing called Perfectly Imperfect parenting, and we're going to be kind to ourselves, people. Kind to ourselves as we do it, okay? Take care. You're wonderful. Have a great evening, and I can't wait to meet here again next Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Sydney, as we can share what we're doing. Samantha, I love what you're doing with your boys. That's beautiful. Thank you for being here. Charlene, thank you for commenting. Michelle, thank you. Gemma, thank you for being here. Tony O'Connell, thank you for being here. Tracy Hughes, Samantha, I've got you already. Karen, Jamie, and Renee, thank you all for being here. Much love to you. All right, good night. Bye-bye.